Gummies! How are you doing today? Welcome to another episode of Bumpin' My Gums. As you can see, we have another special guest today.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
This is my hubby, my rib donor. He is joining us for an episode of Bumpin' My Gums. Today we're going to call this Ramblings with the Hubby or with the rib donor, whatever you want to call it. All right, so let's
so
get
I'll
it.
just drop my 2 cents and we'll have a good time.
Awesome. All right, so let's get into it. So the first thing we want to talk about today is the B. Smith and Dan Gatsby situation. So I don't know, it's the story that's been circulating all over social media and on the news. B. Smith is a entrepreneur. She's a restaurateur. She also has homewares or something other like that. But basically, she's an icon. She was a model. She's an icon, and they named her affectionately the what do they call her? The Black Martha Stewart. Some find that offensive.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. She appreciated that name or not. But anyway, that's some would refer to her as. But as recently, what's come out in the news is her husband, Dan Gatsby, is caring for her because she now has dementia. She had to close down her restaurants and things of that nature because she's no longer able to manage them. But in addition to caring for her, he has taken on I call her mistress. Because if you're still married and you're dating someone, it's not your girlfriend, it's your mistress.
It's kind of like his plus one.
Exactly.
She's not, she has like Alzheimer's. She's declined in health, and he feels like he needs a partner in life.
Yeah. So, but I think the thing that makes it even more controversial is the fact that she has a room in the home that he shares with his wife, and it's four of them that live there. It's Dan, it's B, it's the girlfriend, the mistress, and the daughter, which is his daughter.
Yeah, homeboy's not trying to hide anything. He's like, this is what it is, and she helps take care of her. They just try to live as a happy family.
Yeah. At first, when I had first heard about it, I'm always trying to be conservative. Like, all right, let's get all the information before we start, running to judgment and whatever. And also, too, the other thing I was thinking is, number one, they don't know me. So what do they care about what my opinion is on whether I co-sign, agree, or disagree with their living arrangements, right? But since it's out on social media, I thought that it would be a good topic to, as I always say, start a conversation. So that's why I asked Hubby to join me today, because I figure, what better way to discuss the topic than to have my own spouse here with me to talk about it. So the first thing that struck my mind is people are saying, well, at least he's taking care of her. I feel like he's married to her, so I feel like that's not, you don't get a parade thrown in your honor for taking care of your wife when she fell ill, because I feel like when you get married, you take a vow in sickness and in health. So when things are good and y'all good timing, y'all restaurant owners, y'all traveling the world, living your best life, you standing by her side. But then as soon as she gets sick, now all of a sudden you deserve a reward for staying with her and taking care of her. I feel like that's a part of your vows, right?
Yeah, and I don't think he's saying that either. I just think he's looking at it as, he claims that, him and his wife have had discussions as she began to deteriorate in health.
Did he?
I think that, he feels like she would support him. Now, I'm not saying I do. I'm just thinking that's kind of like his take.
Right.
And his thing is, he's just kind of looking for a partner in life. It's a horrible disease. And I think he's feeling like, I need someone to bounce things off of. I'm not even talking about a sexual or intimate level.
Right.
Just kind of a partner. It won't be my cup of tea, but
I don't know.
And I don't know if I would be so public about it. But I'm not sure how would you mind if my friend was helping take care of you?
Yeah, I think I would.
I
think I would.
So I don't, I think that is that's awkward. But my take is similar to yours. So where would the line be drawn? So
right.
She has Alzheimer's, right? But you know, whether she was a paraplegic or whether she had cancer or whether she was terminal in any other way.
Right.
Would all of those ways justify having a +1 to
Right.
kind of be your ride or die to help you take care of your spouse?
Right.
I venture to say no.
That's what I think. And plus, too, I feel like with them being who they are, because before she got to the point where the disease basically took over her full memory, she was an advocate for her, and her husband wanted to be advocates for African American people who have been diagnosed with this disease. So I feel like when you were in that arena and you were, you know, throwing fundraisers and meeting up with other people and, you know, being spokespeople for other foundations, that should have given you connections to assistance. So I feel like in this situation, I understand that you need help. It's a lot. I'm not taking that away from them because, you know, you're basically taking care of someone who's almost childlike because they're not able to remember or they're not able to take care of themselves. So I'm sure he probably has to make sure that she takes, you know, personal hygiene, making sure that when she gets dressed, she's not putting her underwear on top of her pants, making sure that she eats because she might not be, you know, cognizant of the fact that she hasn't eaten, or making sure she eats the proper things. So I'm sure that it's a full time from sun up to sundown.
Yeah, and it's emotionally draining.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
And it's emotionally draining because my thing is, even as that person slips away mentally and you're trying to be there, I'm sure that causes some sort of friction too. Kind of like, I'm not a child. And, you know, you don't tell me what to do. And then especially if she doesn't remember who he is, so she's in and out, kind of like, who are you? I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. So it's a lot of stuff going on that I'm sure that we probably don't, you know, that we're not aware of or whatever. But I also feel like as a spouse, the fact that you're now the caretaker of not just her, but also of her brand. So I feel like as someone who has been very public, she's been very public. She's has a huge following of fans, of people who followed her through her career. And now that she's no longer to be an advocate for herself or for her own brand or for her own, you know, for her own dignity, you know what I mean? And this is how you do her, so to speak. You know, now you out here flaunting your girlfriend in front of her, and she's basically a participant in a sister wife / threesome, and she's not allowed, and she's not at a point where she can say, yes, I do want to be a part of this threesome or not. So I don't know. It's hard. Like I said, I'm almost on the fence per se. Like on one hand,
yeah,
I can understand you want assistance, but at the same time, I feel like you have the resources financially and the resources as far as connections to people who should be able to provide you assistance.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's just about assistance, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's even more. What if he wants to see a movie? What if he wants to go to a picnic? What if he wants to go to a concert? You know, what if he just on a Friday night wants to do,
just go out to dinner at their favorite restaurant, yeah.
Favorite restaurant, go to Ruth Chris and have a steak. You know, those are things that he probably can't do.
Right, with her any longer. Yeah.
Anymore. So I think sometimes it's those things. I'm not saying that justifies it, but that's just kind of the other side.
But when I hear that, because they wrote a book called Before I Forget, and that's one of the things that he shared, that one of the things that attracted him to her was her mind. You know, they would have very good spirited conversations about politics and different things. But I guess when I hear that, I feel like, well, what if you were having marital issues, right? So you are having issues with your spouse. Do you protect your heart to say, I'm not going to look for this in another person. I have that in my spouse. So now you're starting to entertain other women. So I feel like that's how affairs get started. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like you better call up one of your brothers. If you got a pastor, you better talk to him. Get you some counseling. Talk to your Jesus. I don't know. But looking for that in a companion with another female while your wife is still physically living, it's a bit of a touchy subject.
Yeah, and it's even, like you said, that her mind attracted them.
Yeah.
So, intellectual conversations, discussing current affairs of the state, pop culture, politics. You know, maybe he's looking for someone to bounce that off of.
Yeah.
Like I said, it wouldn't be my cup of tea.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
And,
it's
I would haunt the heck out of you. If some
what would you
other,
do?
If some other, I just, pictures would fall off the wall.
No, that's after you gone. But if you're still living, and I pull somebody in, I was like, well, you know what? He gonna help me take care of you.
In the few seconds I do have my memory, I would trip him and spill my coffee on him by mistake.
But he's helping to take care of you.
It's all good.
He's helping you pick out your outfits.
Helping me go to the bathroom. I would miss the toilet every now and again. It would be enough that he realized I don't think he appreciates me being around.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's a touchy subject. What do you think? I know I posted this on my Instagram page, and one of my cousins is going through a situation where her father has Alzheimer's, and she is taking care of him. And she was stating that she wouldn't have a problem with it if her parents were still together, and her father is going through this, and if her mom decided to have a friend or whatever on the side, she said she wouldn't have a problem with it, because in her opinion, she would rather have two parents that are happy than to have one parent who is not. So that was her take on it. So what are your thoughts? What do you think? Let me know. Drop your comments down in the comment section.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I'd be interested to see what people have to say.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if there's an easy answer.
I don't think it is.
But again, my kind of question would be, where would that kind of line be drawn?
Right.
Right. If there's a physical injury or it's kind of a slippery slope. So that's the only thing I would watch out for.
Yeah. True that.
Cool. All right, so
what's
that's
your next?
that.
Yeah, so what else you want to talk about?
So I gotta get to this because it's just a mess. So what's up with this Jussie? What's his name?
Jussie Smollett, I think it is called.
So I'm gonna just go there because I was telling my wife from the beginning, with all due respect, I just never bought it from the beginning. So let me replay this story back to you. This is how I took it from the beginning. So you're in Chicago.
Here you go.
The land of the Obamas.
Here we
and
go.
you're just happy to find the only two Magna people on the streets.
Says you they're the only two Magna people.
In 20-degree weather at 2 in the morning. And they recognize you of all people from Empire.
Yeah.
Number one, not buying that. Number two, I'm not buying that, some Magna supporters are hanging out in Chi-Town. 3, what the heck are they doing walking the streets at 2 in the morning?
Already with
and
ski mask on.
4, they're dressed in black and had on ski masks. And by the way, I got this little rope in my pocket. So and my boy happens to have some bleach. And we're just going to run over to you and just disappear into the night and avoid all cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not buying
Again, when I heard the story, I tried my best because, what do you say about the people who said, well, you shouldn't be victim shaming, and that's why people don't come forward with their stories because, people take a, look at it with a fine-tooth comb. What do you say to those people?
It's not victim shaming. So here's my thing. We got to stop the rushes to judgment because just because you said it doesn't make it true. You can say it passionate.
Right.
You can shed a tear.
Right.
It doesn't make it true.
Yeah.
And, and we got to stop this. Well, it said it, so it happened.
Right.
And I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying it's going to take time there was enough question marks there. Let's take a step back.
Right.
And I wouldn't victim shame on my if I was a co-star, my response would be, this is a very unfortunate incident that happened to my colleague and friend.
Right.
I wish him a speedy recovery.
Right.
There has to be nothing that chastises supporters of other people.
Right.
And to me, it was just the reason I don't feel sorry for him is he took a story and poured Vaseline on it.
Yeah.
Why could it not just been a random attack at night?
Yeah.
Why did it have to be a hate crime?
Yeah.
Why did it have to be these white people that attacked you?
Yeah.
Why
did he really say white though?
He said they had magnum caps. He said he could see their blue eyes through the mask, and he said
that's what I was trying to.
He said they were shouting Magna Country. They called him the N word.
Yeah.
They called him the F word for homosexual.
Yeah.
And these are, and no one else said this.
Yeah.
These are inflammatory things that you shared.
Right.
And here's my biggest beef. You had 2 weeks. This happened on January 29th. All the way through Thursday of last week, you had a chance to get your story straight, but you sat back down with Robin Roberts and impassionately repeated the same story with the same holes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my thoughts on it. Okay. When I first heard about it, I, saw it on social media. Somebody posted it on I think I saw that, people were posting his picture and saying, prayers for Jussie or whatever. So then I Googled it to find out exactly what was going on. So basically it turns out that, and then I saw on his social media account where he made posts about going to Chicago. He was very public about it. Like he was on an airplane for 7 hours, just touched down in, Chicago or whatever. So I saw that. And then when I read the story, he was saying that when he got to Chicago, it was late. He got to his apartment. There wasn't any food there. So he decided to go out to grab a bite to eat. Okay. I forgot where he said he went originally, but they were closed. So then he walked across the street to the Subway to get a sandwich or whatever. And then when he was leaving there, he said as he was walking, he heard somebody yell, Empire. He said he didn't turn around because that's not his name. And then that's when the thing ensued. So when I first heard the story, again, I'm always trying to get the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying so hard to not allow media and people to tell me how I should feel about a situation. I tried to read it for myself to determine how I feel about it. So when I read the story myself, the different accounts, the first thing that kind of stuck out to me is, if you are a Trump supporter to the point where you're wearing Make America Great Again red caps and you got blue eyes, I don't see you being a fan of Empire to know exactly who he is. No. That was the first thing, unfortunately, that kind of raised the flag. But at the same time, maybe they are some very woke, MAGA people who happened to stumble across his music, and that's how they were able to identify him as an Empire star. I don't know. Like I said, once again, I was trying to rush to judgment. But then when they were looking for, the police were stating that they were trying to find coverage or footage. There was, video cameras from different businesses. Yeah. There was video cameras from the street, and they could not find the attack. And all they could find was images of 2 African-American, I'm sorry, I take that back, because at the point, it was just dark figures. You couldn't tell if they were black, but you could tell they were black, but you couldn't tell they were black. And they weren't running. They didn't look disheveled. They just looked like they were just 2 people who themselves could have just left Subway from sharing a meal, and now they were just walking home. Unfortunately, that kind of raised a red flag to me again, because I was thinking, well, if you just assaulted somebody, like, wouldn't you be seen tossing a bottle or running away from the scene? Because Jussie said that when they were attacking him, because he fought back, he wanted to make sure everybody knew that he fought back, that all of a sudden they just stopped. And that was another thing. I'm like, what do you just stop? Like, and you in the midst of beating somebody down, then all of a sudden your conscience grows and be like, oh, I probably shouldn't be beating you down, so I'm just going to stop, and me and my boy just going to walk away and leave you there. Like, I would think that the only way that would stop from their purpose, because if they put a noose around your neck, they trying to hang you. So if they didn't get a chance to do that, the only way they would be walking away, to me, is if they were interrupted by somebody else, which means now you have a witness to who would have seen the assault, or at least seen you on the ground and the people running away. Yeah. And then,
I would have, the story would have worked better for me, and I wouldn't have had as much doubt if it was, hey, I was just walking and, I got into it with some people, or some sort of transaction went wrong or something like that. Yeah. But the minute you made it into a hate crime, my spidey senses went off. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of an Olympic story where people said they got robbed, but there were holes in it. Come to find out it wasn't true. Right. And that's what's kind of what struck me.
Or even years ago, the young woman whose kids were drowned in the river, and she tried to say that some black man did it or something or another. Somebody stole her car and did it, but come to find out she killed the kids because the guy she was seeing didn't like children, so she was trying to get rid of her kids or whatever. So it's crazy. And like I said, I didn't post about it or anything on my social media. I didn't really want to talk about it, but hubby wanted to. But I try to say, because my hubby,
I feel like I was justified in finally saying how I felt.
No, don't say justified, but like I just felt like I watched Empire. Hubby teases me and says that I'm probably one of 2 people who are still watching the show.
It used to be lit. Like, everybody was watching it. Now it's 5 people. She's one of them.
I still watch Empire, and I like Jussie. I like him. I follow him on social media. I follow him on Instagram, and plus too, I guess I just didn't believe that he was the type of person to do that. I mean, I made my case to Hubby. I was like, he is part of a family. It's like 50 of them who they've been stars since they were children. They seem to be very well established, and then some people are saying that he was attention seeking by doing this, and I was like, well, I follow him on social media, and he doesn't do a lot of posting. So to me, somebody who is a attention seeker would post more, or the different type of things that he would post or whatever. I just didn't feel like it was attention seeking. So I just feel so bad. I genuinely feel truly bad that he felt like he was at a point in his career that he had to lie. And then, like I should say allegedly, because like I said, they're still working through the facts. I
wouldn't be surprised if it was yet another term.
Oh my gosh. But. So, and he is, and I will say that he is still vehement. He is very, he's standing by his story, and he's stating that the fellas are lying. But then that's the other thing. So what are the chances that the only 2 people that were also caught on film happened to know you and was on the show with you, and he was your personal trainer? So that was the other thing that kind of put another nail in his coffin, because it's kind of like, well, the street cameras, out of all of the footage that they saw, they couldn't find any other suspects but the 2 people who knew you, who were tied to you. So that, unfortunately, and the fact that I guess he did say that they had blue eyes, but then to come to find out they're from Nigeria. Neither one of them got blue eyes. So even though that they had their face covered, you should still be able to determine if a person is black or white, because if you see them in their eyes. But I guess if the assault was so quick, maybe he didn't get a chance to look them in their eyes. But I think in one of his own statements, he did see, and they were blue. So
that was that.
I don't know. And I saw the article where it said that he paid them $3,500, and then he promised them another $500 or something like that. So now even dollar amounts are coming out. So I don't know. I think the whole thing is just sad. I really think it's sad, because like he said, like Jussie said himself, he's an advocate for the LGBT community. So, and he's spoke out strongly for people who have been, who have truly been assaulted. So it's sad. That black
card, the gay card.
He played it all.
I mean, he laid them all. He put all his chips on the table. He was all in, like poker. He was all in. So that's hurts to go forward.
And plus too, that's the reason, and that is the very reason, not us questioning or, like I said, looking at the situation. Because I feel like you should be an individual thinker. And then not only that, but then because his co-stars came out, Lee Daniels, Taraji P. Henson, I could always say Tom Joyner Morning Show, but it wasn't Tom Joyner. It was Steve Harvey, coming out and making statements. His friend Gabrielle Sidibe, I'm not saying her last name right, but like they're very, very close. They're very good friends, whatever. So all of these people are coming out and not just saying that they're wishing you well and wishing you speedy recovery, but then they're making, accusations themselves. Like, this country is so messed up. And I think Jussie has a song called "It's a Mad World," "It's a Messed Up World," or something like that. So some people on their social media was posting clips of his video saying that, basically he can't say it any better himself. And unfortunately, to that point, some people are saying that it's publicity for his music or whatever. So I don't know. I think it's very, very, very sad. And it's sad on so many different levels for so many different people. And I just hope that if it all comes out and the investigation is complete and they have hard evidence that really does confirm that he did lie, and I just say continue to pray for him, because it takes a very sick and twisted mind to come up with something like that. to do something like that, you know.
All right. So I'm gonna throw one more subject at you.
All right, what you got?
So what do you make of the Monique appeared on Steve Harvey?
Oh my
this
gosh.
week? What do you make of that whole thing?
Again, okay, so I was trying to find the full interview because I heard Steve Harvey talking about it. I saw different clips about it on YouTube, and people were, well, before the interview came out and Steve spoke about it or Monique spoke about it, people were posting things like, oh, we have confirmation that Monique was on the show and she threatened to slap him, and it was very a heated conversation. But then when Steve Harvey talked about it, he was like, first of all, what people don't understand is they're friends and they go way back. Like, they've been friends for years, and they have a brother sister type relationship. And he was like, yeah, she did slap me. He said, but I know Monique, and it wasn't any malice behind it. He was just like, you know, it was one of those situations where it's like, oh, you know, I heard you bumping your gums and saying things, but you never reached out to me directly, and I just wanted to punch you in your mouth. And like, I can see where he's coming from, because, you know, when you're cool with people, like, you know, you may say to your girlfriends, say it again and I will chop you in your throat. You know what I mean? Something like that. And so I watched the 6-minute clip that they had on YouTube, and it sounds like they had it. To me, it looks like they had a very real dialogue.
Yeah, it looks like they had
It looks like a very real dialogue.
And I feel, so my take, I saw, you know, different people comparing Steve Harvey, saying he, you know, was the classic sellout, you know, for his device. But I disagree. You know, I feel, you know, call me the company man. But I feel like Steve is saying, you know, to go about ways, go about things in the ways that protect your dollars, right? You shouldn't have to be, you know, begging and pleading to be on different things, or you shouldn't want to be kind of blackballed. There's a way of expressing yourself without saying, you know, some of the things, you know, she says. You know, she's like, I'm gonna be me. And you know, they can, you know, take me or leave me. Take me or leave me, but you know, a lot of people might choose to leave you because, you know, it's kind of a what have you done for me lately, this world. Right. You know, and Precious was now in 2010, you know, and
just
you know,
8 years,
and
9.
you know, you're talking there's some distance between that. There's a whole new generation that's come up that's not real familiar with you, frankly. So, and all they know is this bitter. All I hear sometimes when I hear her is I think of bitter Aunt Viv. Yeah. Where it's just like, you better. You know, you just kind of need to take a step back. And let people, like, you were a jovial, like, fun person, but you've become, in my opinion, this kind of staunch, kind of angry person. And for a comedian, that's not a good place to be. So I would just, you know, if I was advising her, and that's part of the issue. I don't think her husband / manager is the best cat out there.
Because I feel like, so let's put a pin in that. Let's talk about that for a second. I feel like she is a real live personality. She's in the business for real. This isn't part-time for her. This isn't, you know, I'm gonna do this on the side. Like, this is her career. This is how you are feeding your family. So in my opinion, that's the type of manager you need. Just because your husband has your best interest at heart doesn't make him a good manager. Because I feel like my husband, you know, he supports me in everything that I want to do, and he's there for me. I, you know, talk to him about stuff. He's a good sounding board. But say, for instance, if I decided, you know what, I want to go into acting, he's going to be my advocate. He's not going to be my manager because he doesn't know about the business. He doesn't know about negotiation. He's in, you know, what his day job is. He would be able to speak on my behalf, speak to my character, make sure nobody takes advantage of me. But as far as how to maneuver through these different business meetings, what type of personality you would need in order to deal with people, and what information they use in order to write these contracts and make offers, unfortunately, he does not have that gift. And although I love him, I don't think I could employ him as a manager. And I feel like that's where Monique went wrong. It's okay for your husband to be your advocate. It's okay for your husband to be in on those meetings to make sure that, you know, things that you may miss or things that you may not understand, if he has a business degree or something like that, you feel like he will be able to pick up on it. But to actually be your manager, to negotiate contracts, to negotiate different deals, whatever, I think you need to hire a professional, someone who knows about the business. And because I feel like there are plenty of stars out there and they all have professional managers. And my thing is, you can't tell me you can't find one manager out there that has your best interest at stake. At the end of the day, making you money is making the manager money. As long as you're working and getting booked for gigs, because he can't get paid if you're not getting paid. So he's got something at heart. He's got something, you know, he's got some skin in the game for you, you know what I mean, for you to make it in to get different deals and stuff, because he need to feed his family too.
Yeah, so I would just kind of reflect the stress. I mean, they really came out with guns a-blazing. Initially, it was, I was supposed to have been Cookie, and I was going to do this, and I was going to do that, and Lee Daniels because of this, and like you're burning bridges. You know, now you got, you know, Taraji P. Henson had nothing to do with your beef. So why are you coming? Why are you
coming for her job?
Why are you coming for
that her manager negotiated for her?
So you know, I just think that she was just kind of going about things the wrong way.
Yeah. And I, you know, and like I said, and when they sat down and had their real conversation, then that 6 minutes clip that I watched, Steve Harvey did apologize to her, stated, because he was one of the comedians who was, you know, talking about it and kind of making light of it, like, no, you know, you're going the wrong way, and, you know, and because she was saying she was in her campaign about why she needed more money, she was, you know, telling about her different accolades and stuff, and I think he was one of the comedians who challenged it or whatever, and he admitted he did apologize to her about that and said that he should have reached out to her directly. But the part that I found funny is his apology was like, yeah, you know, I should have reached out to you directly, but you know, I got all these jobs, so you know, unfortunately I didn't have time to reach out to you because, you know, I'm working, because, you know, I got like 15 jobs. So I kind of thought that was a little passive aggressive, so to speak, type of an apology, kind of like, oh, I would have reached out to you, but, you know, I'm busy because I got, you know, I'm working. You know, so I don't know, but I'm glad that, and what I will say about Monique is, at least she's trying to stay positive as far as people are trying to manufacture, or people are trying to add fuel to the fire by making it sound like she's got beef with these different people. You know what I mean? Like, people are saying, oh, because like she was on the chat, the talk, whatever, with Lonnie Love and Adrian and Tamara or whatever. And they were like, oh, she squashes the beef. And Monique is kind of like, yeah, I didn't have no beef with her. She said what she said. I said what I said. You know what I mean? It was like, it's not like she's trying to, you know, have squabbles per se with other people outside of Lee Daniels and Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, because her remarks about them are very inflammatory. But as far as like other people, I feel like at least she's trying to be positive in that area. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how that all works out. She has a residency in Vegas now, so I'm praying that that is her way back, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we'll see. They keep bringing series back. Maybe the Parkers will get a please God no, but maybe they'll get another.
I like the Parkers. Again, I was one of the 5 people watching it, so
yeah.
Yeah, maybe they'll get a reboot. Because what's the her co-star, the little short one that played her daughter? What's her name?
Countess Vaughn.
Yeah, Countess Vaughn. Yeah, she will definitely probably be happy to do a reboot and get some work too. Bless her little soul. So she will be happy.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on your mind?
No, I think that nothing else on the top of my tongue. How about you?
I was
but it was a good time. We'll have to come back and we'll have to do this again.
Yeah, you're gonna come back and chat with us again and bump your gums with us another time.
Yes, I will. I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to share my ramblings. I got plenty of them.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right,
Bye,
gummies.
everybody.
Thank you so much for deciding to click on the video and listening to the ramblings with me and my hubby. And if you have not already, please hit the subscribe button and even hit the bell so the next time that I post a video, you will be notified. And follow me on Instagram, Bumpin My Gums. Have a great day on purpose, gummies.